logging the response to the console like this is not enough. We also need to render that data on the DOM. And here we can see our desired output. This was created simply with HTML. So here we have our header with who to follow, and on the right we have the refresh button. We also have a list with the 3 suggestions. Here we have some placeholder data, like this will not be displayed and neither this. And the first link is a link to the username we'll take to the GitHub user's profile page, and we're supposed to fill this href with that link. And also we're supposed to fill the text content of this link with the user's login name. And also there's an image element here where we will put the avatar for that user. Okay, so how do we do that in Rx with observables? So we have this response stream that emits actually an array of users. So it has an array containing probably some hundreds of users, and we need only 3 of those. So we need to represent somehow the first user, the second user, and the third user. And we can do that by creating one stream of events for each of these users. So for instance, we can create the a stream for the suggestion of the first user to follow. And we do that by getting the response stream, which emits arrays. So we're going to get those lists of users, and we're going to map that to one of those entries. We do that by doing math.floor, then math random, multiplied by the amount of items in that array. This will give us one random user in that array of users. And then we need to do the same thing for the second user, like this. But as you can see, this is really repetition of code. So we could actually put this in a function so we can reuse it. So let's call that function create suggestion stream. Given the response stream, it will map that response stream to one random user. So then we can call that function by just doing create suggestion stream and giving it the response stream. And this will return us an event stream that has one random user. And we just do the same for the second user and for the third user. So now that we have these streams, they don't do anything by themselves. That's the idea of event streams. You need to always add an event listener or subscribe to them, and then you have your user. So now inside here, we finally have one single user, not an array, and we need to render that to the DOM here. So I'm going to call render suggestion with a user and a selector, which is suggestion 1. Now, of course, this render function, render suggestion function doesn't exist yet. I need to create that. So let's go ahead and create that. Render suggestion, it takes some piece of user data and a selector. And what I want this to do is get that data, get the element behind that selector, and put the data in that element. So let's go and get our element behind that selector. And then let's get the username link in that element, which is username class. And then we can do something with this element. We can get the href and put user data, HTML, URL, if I remember correctly. And then we can do username element, and we can set the text content to be user data, login, if I remember correctly again. So image element, now we need to get that particular image element which is inside that list item, and we set the source for this to be user data avatar URL. So this user data is an object returned by GitHub's API, and if you want to see how the whole structure of this object is, the JSON, you can go and check the GitHub's specifications. And now if we run, we shall see the first user the suggestion 1 stream got its data from the response stream, and then we just subscribes to that suggestion 1 stream, and we render this to the DOM. So if we do that with the other users, like this, basically copy pasting and changing the selectors and the stream names 2 and 3, and we run again, we're going to see the users rendered to the DOM.